So today, friends, we're going to have a very scary and very exciting food challenge. You may have heard of the durian fruit, known as the king of fruit or known as the most dangerous fruit in the world. The durian. The smell is like a rotten eggs, like a sour rotten eggs. You can see. And I'm going to eat this fruit without fear.
It's 50,000.
Okay, I will pay for it. So I don't know if you saw, but a few minutes ago I posted a short video from a wonderful meditation master, Buddhist monk, named Master Yongkua. And there's something that we can be very confused about that's easy to understand, actually, in terms of working on ourselves or meditation or getting more enlightened. And that is the process and the practice of looking inwardly. And so you may not have a lot of happiness or joy or peace or some kind of special meditation experience to look at, like to pull your attention inward. And so in that case, looking inwardly means to look at your own afflictedness, to look at your own anger, to look at your own frustration, to look inside, and whatever is there that's not peaceful and free and relaxed and happy and totally enlightened, look at that. Look at the suffering within yourself. That is really the practice. I've recently had a few people reaching out to me and saying, you're crazy. You've lost the point. Yes, okay, very good. You've missed the message in some way. You've fallen off the wagon. Look at how stupid you are. Look at how crazy you are, etc. But how stupid I am, how crazy I am, how angry I am, and I'm really, really very crazy, that's not your problem. How great I am, how wonderful I am, or how much of a bad loser I am, It's not actually your problem. The problem is your own affliction, your own suffering, your own difficulty that you're going through within yourself that you're not looking at, that you're not working to transform. And when we come together in the live stream like this, casual or serious or intense or relaxed, however we feel about it, it's an opportunity for us to use this as a mirror, to turn our mind back around and to look at whatever afflictions exist within us and to meditate upon that. Meditate on the suffering within yourself. If you're suffering, then I'm here to help you look at your own suffering. If you're happy and peaceful, then I'm here to help you look at your own happiness and your own peace within you. Really, we shouldn't be afflicted by anything. That's the goal, right? Not to be trapped, not to be stuck, not to be bound up anywhere. And the meditation is just like this kind of exercise that helps us be really alert, really awake, really aware to face what is ever there within us. Because if you can't face the suffering that you are aware of, then that suffering is going to perpetuate itself, it's going to continue. So we have to look right at it. We have to face it. We have to embrace the suffering to transform it into freedom, to enlightenment, to peace, to well-being. We really don't know what we're going to find within ourselves until we stop and take a look. Every moment is changing, physically, mentally, environmentally. Everything's changing constantly, all the time, isn't it? So every moment to stop and to look and to face what is within us at this moment or at any moment, that is the really interesting point, really interesting moment. There's this constant energy of like desire and fear and thinking and planning and managing our thoughts, managing the experiences that we have. So when we meditate, we are clocking out from management and we're clocking into the directness of experiencing. And through that directness of experiencing, we can explore the very nature of our being. We can see who we really are. We can see what the mind really is. We can see what's really going on right now. But we have to get out of this trap, this idea that somehow what's really going on right now can be contained in thoughts. Those thoughts are tricks. Those thoughts are lies. Those thoughts are confusions. Really, if you want to put a human being into a thought, it's a bag of body parts. It's a bag of blood. It's a bag of bones. Tubes. An in tube and an out tube. Flesh, muscle, bones, tendons. If you look inside the body, what do you find? How can you say that, the outside of the body or the appearance, the way that things seem, something seems beautiful on the outside, are you okay with just looking at the outside, or do you actually want to know what is the source, what is the root of these appearances? And we may feel a certain way, or the people around us feel a certain way, and then we're stuck or we're trapped in that certain way. It's like we're trapped in a realm of existence. But when we go into our meditation, we can actually transform from within, inside and outside. And so when you close your eyes and you don't know what to do or you don't know what to look at the suffering. Look at the unpleasantness or look at the pleasantness. Look at what is being felt at that moment. Allow what is being felt in that moment to intervene in the constant stream of thinking. Meditation is very, very powerful. Meditation is no joke. So if you can really start to practice like that, to practice seriously, to practice 100%, you can have your own evolution. You can have your own level up. You can have your own transformation of what is there. You can become beyond suffering, beyond complicated thinking. It's kind of like we're on a very deep path, a way of deep looking. And every time that a thought comes up and we get confused by or we get pulled into that thought, we get pulled into a state of belief. It's like a roadblock on our journey. So right now, this isn't about healing the pain. That's just you wanting some result. It's about facing and being with that pain, being with whatever is here, right and now, totally and completely. Not about being a Buddhist. It's not about meditation. It is about looking at what is already here, directly, without fear, without desire, without trying to get something out of it, but instead to be fully and totally with it. To have a meditation experience or a life experience that is beyond comparing things, beyond thinking about things. Literally, to have an experience right here and right now that is beyond past and future. That's beyond your story about your life. And you may not be thinking through your story like a script in a movie, but there may be this subliminal, subconscious string of complicated thinking or a string of constant attaching to thoughts that is perpetuating this particular way of living life. It's not about being natural. It's natural to just pee if you have to pee. It's natural to just poo if you have to poo. Anything, everything is natural. But you have to make a decision. Are you going to live like an animal? Are you going to allow your suffering to control you? Or are you going to be beyond suffering? Because one way or another, we will have to look deeply. We will get sick, we'll get old, we'll be facing death, or someone that we care about will get sick, will get old, will die. Or something that we care about will become impermanent, it will change, Our house, our living situation, our relationship, our mental health, our physical health will become unstable, will become unreliable, will be painful instead of pleasurable. So finding out this way to actually face our suffering and to bring ourselves to this place of authenticity with ourselves, it's not about anyone else. It's not about what anyone else thinks about us or how we appear in the social world. But it's the relationship that you have with yourself when nobody else is around. And when we go into meditation, this is when we actually enter into that relationship with ourselves, with nobody else around. People say that their lives are so bad or things are going so wrong, so they have to make this drastic change. They have to harm themselves or they have to harm somebody else. But really, if you can see how suffering, how unsettling, how unstable everything in life is, what's a better reason to let go? The reason that there's so much suffering and so much stress and confusion is because you don't know how to let go. You don't know how to look at things without holding on to every little thing that comes up as you're looking. Falling into a spiral, falling into complicated emotions, falling into complicated stories. So to really be willing to face yourself, to face how you feel. And there's no Fortnite emoji that you can use to get around that. There's no movie or TV show or thing that you can do to avoid that. You have to know, you have to learn how to face yourself. You have to know how to face suffering. You have to know how to face life as it actually is, instead of just telling all these stories all the time, making all these justifications for our choices. Stop making choices for a little bit. Let go of this contract that you have with the world to make choices. Say, I'm not going to make any choices anymore. And let go. And let be. And let listen. Let breathe. It's Snall, if you were here, I'd give you a big smooch. I'd give you a big hug. And we'd go for a walk together in the forest, and we'd talk about, the things that you're going through, and if you have any questions and things like that, you could ask. Nobody's angry at you here. Nobody's upset with you. Nobody's confused about who you are. Because who you truly are is not a story. It's not an ego. There's no egos here. There's no miniature stories here running around. Everybody here is just openness. Everybody here is just space. Now it's time for me to make a drastic decision. I like how Sadhguru wears things on his head, but I don't know how to do that. It's a very Indian, maybe something. Something like this could be useful, maybe. The fact of the matter is whether we're young or old, most people don't know what they're talking about. Most people have not looked deeply within themselves to actually understand their lives, to understand being human, to understand the mind. Because if I ask you what the mind is, and you say, well, the mind is thoughts and the mind is like consciousness, these are just words. What the mind actually is not something that can be intellectually understood. It has to be experientially understood. So this is to go into our own direct experience. That's what the meditation is about. And the reason that, growing up, there's so many conflicted emotions, there's so many adults with greed and anger and delusion and kind of, bad teachings, is because people haven't looked into their own minds. They haven't investigated their own experiences. So this is the time and the space, the chance for us to not label meditation, not even to practice meditation, but actually to take back our own ability to look at reality itself. and stop being so bound up by the stories we tell about it. Reality is not a story. This is not a story. That is not a story. Nobody here is a story. Stories are not reality. Movies and TV shows and anime are fake. Everything that you think or believe about your life is fake. It's just a thought. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. You're not guaranteed yesterday. You're not guaranteed the money in your own pocket, that it's going to have value in a few moments from now. You're not guaranteed to be healthy. You're not guaranteed to continue living. And the same applies to everyone and everything. So this is like a radical view. And we don't just listen to people, random people who have something to say. It doesn't mean anything just because you have something to say. You know, you put a few words on paper. You have to actually share, you have to give, and you have to be open enough to feel when someone else is giving, when someone else is actually sharing their heart, their body, their mind, their experience, rather than just running their trap. And if we can't listen, we can't determine that, because we're coming from a culture or a background where we were told, don't ever look deeply, don't ever listen deeply, just start thinking and just start consuming. And this isn't about thinking or consuming at all. You know, people are crazy. But the craziness of other people is not your problem. Your problem is your own craziness. So meditation is looking inside and finding out how crazy we are. Now people are afraid to do that. Almost nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to find out how crazy they are. But I do. Instead of the mind looking out, turn the mind around and look within. See what's there. Is your mind, is your life, is reality literally just thinking all the time? Is that really what reality is? Just non-stop thinking? I don't think so. Never has been, never will be. Reality being a certain way and then describing it with thoughts and words and labels is just another thought. It's not the reality itself. So meditation is when we get a chance to take a taste of reality itself, even if it's for a small moment. You might feel suffering, you might feel peace. There's all kinds of different things that you might feel. So be curious enough to actually feel what is there. To experience it for yourself. Breathing and looking within. With no expectations. We can't just leave it as it is what it is, because that's kind of like the young man sitting in his room that's full of piss bottles and feces on the floor. And you come in and say, what's going on, Mark? And Mark says, it is what it is, bro. It doesn't quite work like that. So you have to keep looking. You have to take on the responsibility of being a real man, a real woman, a real person, before you can see through how ignorant and attached you are. You have to be able to look deeply. And a lot of people just don't get it. And so we don't have to blame people for not getting it. We just have to see that as more importance to get it for ourselves, so that we can share that awareness, that presence, that depth that other people simply do not have access to. Curiosity is a gift. Curiosity is a wonder. Curiosity is a natural inclination towards looking more closely and more deeply. Your responsibility is to keep your room clean, to take care of your own affairs, to be a good person, to be aware. Because if you're not, you're going to get into a car accident, either a physical one or a mental one. So this big bolsterous ego that a lot of people build up about their security and their confidence about their financial, material, or mental health, that's not how the world works. Anything and everything can fall apart at any and every moment. And it is falling apart. Everything is changing. Everything is empty of being fixed or solid. We're too easy to make judgments about other people. We're too easy to think that our thoughts about our experience are some kind of gold standard about what reality is. It just doesn't work like that. Your thoughts are not even your thoughts. It's just cultural conditioning. It's just stories. It's just habits. It's just a fake ego. It's empty. So we can meditate together to feel the fullness of emptiness. Just connecting with the breath, hearing the sounds, being aware of what it feels like inside of the body. Stop trying to get attention. Stop trying to prove yourself. Stop looking for something. And start looking at the looking itself. Stop thinking about what you see. Stop thinking about what you think. Stop thinking about what you hear. And let it be what it is without adding thoughts to it. Let it be what it is without adding thoughts to it. Let your awareness, let your attention, let your presence fill up the whole body. Allow the awareness of the mind to fill up the whole body. Get strong, get woke, get deep, get heavy. Are you going to sit on the sidelines your whole life? Are you always going to be in the Pee-wee League, holding your little bat, swinging at things, making noises? Or you want to be the big strong guy, the big strong gal? Do you want to hold a big old bat, full of power, full of wisdom, full of compassion, full of depth? Up to you. It's not about how you look, it's not about how you sound, it's not about what other people think about you. It's about the connection that you have to your own heart and how deep that is. Or is your connection to yourself just consuming and being distracted and thinking about things? Don't try to convince anybody of anything. That's not going to help you. Don't try to diagnose or characterize my situation. My situation is my problem. Your situation is your problem. And it's only when we start looking at the problem directly that we can see the ways and means of untangling ourselves from affliction, from negative emotions, from a weak, pathetic, confused ego that is in a constant state of reactivity. Carried away by thinking and returning to breathing instead of following along with thinking. Achieving chi is the same as achieving stupidity. Chi actually comes from the root word of stupidity. So repeat this mantra after me to achieve chi. I'm stupid. I am a fool. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know where I am. I don't know what's going on. Frankly, remove I and remove what you say after that. Just practice not knowing. The ego has gotten a hold of you. You've become manipulated by desire. You've become manipulated by complicated thinking. You've become manipulated by frustration. Repeat after me. I am an idiot. I am a fool. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what this is. I is just a thought. Drop the thought of I and just practice not knowing. Don't try to be aggressive. Don't try to make an impact. Don't try to get a reaction. Don't put your own unwillingness to turn within as a reason for blame to the outside world. You have no right to understand this. You have no right to make judgments about this. You have no right to be in charge of someone else. Your suffering, your thoughts, the labels that you put on your own personal experience are just your own. You have to begin to take responsibility for your own negativity. You have to begin to take responsibility for your own emotions. You have to begin to take responsibility for your own unwillingness to turn inward and to face your experience. Why is my skin white? Why am I not blind? My teeth look like this. Why does my nose look like this? Why am I wearing this shirt? Why am I wearing these sunglasses? Why did Doggy just post that comment? Why is the temperature this way? Why is grass green color? Why am I wearing this on my head? Why are people watching this live stream? Why am I rubbing my hands together? Why does my skin feel this way? Why does the room smell this way? Why do these sounds sound this way? Where did I come from? Where am I going to go in a few moments? What country are the people here from, and why are they there? How old are the people here? Why were they born such and such years ago? Why is Donald Trump the president? Why does my voice sound like this? Why am I breathing? Why does this look like a blue color and this look like a brownish, greenish color? Right. And so this is the knot, or this is the stress, or this is the confusion that is unnecessary. Instead of our dizzy eyes with existentialism hitting us hard, come back to your breathing. Go inside. Bring awareness and presence and wholeness and fullness to this moment as it is. That's not about anything or anyone or any thoughts. Breathe and be with the direct moment by moment experience of being alive, of this body, of this mind as it is right now. The problem is that our egos have become manipulated by the arch nemesis of peace, which is desire and fear. We're being spun around and turned around and twirled around by the puppet strings of the great manipulator, of Satan himself. That is the Satan of desiring and fear, or liking and disliking, or this is boring. Look through boringness, look through likingness, look through dislikingness, look directly at that which is looking. As a meditation, I'm not there to punch you in your stomach and get you to meditate, so this is what I can do. So please try, please listen. If this for you is entertainment, then you're no friend of mine. This is also meant to be this is a supplementary practice. You have to take the responsibility for yourself to be exploring Dhamma talks, to be looking into Buddhism, to be practicing meditation, to be going as far as you can with this, and then you can come back here and check, is this guy for real or not? According to as you develop. Okay? Is this teacher good or not? Is this teacher reliable or not? Does this work or not? We're not going to stop, nor are we going to start. This is without stopping and without starting awareness. This is not serious, nor is this unserious. This is not real, nor is this unreal. This is not good, nor is this bad. This is not right, nor is this wrong. I'm not crazy, nor am I not crazy. What's real to you is what you have to penetrate and look at for yourself. We're trying to build up a new religion of, did Jesus really die on the cross for us? You know, are there really spirits in the sky? You have to see for yourself in this experience, in this moment, what is happening. This is where reality is. It doesn't matter that you have the deed to a house. It doesn't matter that you have a car payment. It doesn't matter that you think you have people in other places that are your relatives or something like that. Those are just thoughts. Reality is right here and right now. You could say it like that, Kelly, but I recommend you just go through the looking instead of the declarations. And not that. I don't recommend that, Kelly. Although you can do it in that way also. Because there's no telling how much we can evolve and grow and develop, right? Our potential is limitless. But if we limit ourselves by all of these stories and all of these simplistic surface level thoughts that we have about ourselves and others and about life, we're completely restricted. There's no natural development possible because we're too busy worrying about Coke versus Pepsi. So don't worry about anything. Don't praise anything here. Don't blame anything here. Yeah, 100%. So that ego is not actually there. But if you have to pee, you have to pee. So these go together. They're not dualistic. Right? No self is a teaching that goes beyond the dualism of no self and self. Self itself is dualistic because it also is inclusive of no self. You won't find me calling you on your phone. You won't find me tuning into your live stream. Tu sol sia, you have to begin to take responsibility for your own actions, for your own mind. Stop worrying about what I'm doing. Everything and nothing that is beyond everything and nothing itself. Beyond itself. Kelly, you can you see if it works for you because it's a little bit high end, but you can see if you can get the wisdom from it. So search for I'm going to give you the YouTube channel to search for some Dhamma talks on this expression. There's 25 people here. Let's get some W's in the chat, everybody. Let's really get excited. Let's really get worked up. Okay, there you go, Kelly. You can listen to that Dhamma talk sometime. We're always trying to put everything into a labeled box. This is this way, this is that way, except this is my past, this is my future, this is mine, this is not mine, etc., etc., etc. Just stop labeling everything. Stop trying to put everything into a box and step back into natural meditation. That's right, Jewel Carnane. Our peacefulness, our freedom, our wisdom, our power, our truthfulness is going to come from within, not from how we judge or determine what we see outside. Not exactly, NJ, because there's still a lot of there's a lot too much hope in that. So really, it's the hope that we can appreciate or we can enjoy everything, right? That we can interpret pain to be good. But pain is painful. Pleasure is pleasurable. If you're on an overnight bus in Southeast Asia and you've really got to pee and they're not stopping, or you really got the fiery diarrhea and that you don't feel comfortable to talk with them, trust me, that's not good. There's no interpretation of that that's going to be good. However, we can practice to stop complaining. We can learn to not complain. And when we learn to not complain and just be aware, we're in a much more simple and stable position to just go and say, hey, bus driver that can't really understand what I'm saying, I have fiery diarrhea and I've got to get off this bus and use a toilet somewhere, somehow, one way or another. And they'll probably help you. Acceptance of whatever state. Beyond acceptance of whatever state. Beyond you doing something in relationship to what's happening. It's just about getting involved. It's about taking responsibility to get as involved as you are interested and serious about it. If you want to go and become a monk, that's great. I'll help you do it. But the mindset or the approach that we're bringing to basically everything, because we're not fully enlightened, we might not be enlightened at all, is we're trying to get what we want. And so we have to be willing to give up the capacity to get what we want. And that maybe goes in line with the acceptance as well. And so when you're actually willing to give up your ability to get what you want, life becomes much more accessible and flexible and fluid and free. Because it's that capacity for you to get what you want that is so much possession and contraction and effort and striving and controlling. Best specific practices for realizing anatta are listening to the Dhamma talks, listening to Ajahn Sumedho, practicing meditation with Ajahn Brahm, because that desire to get the no self-realization is exactly the blockage. From no self-realization and also from deeper states of meditation that will help you relax and release your ego. And the reality is that for a lot of people, they've never done anything or they've never been supported to relax their ego. So it's kind of like these people who know nothing about relaxing their own ego find themselves flying over to Thailand and then being confused that people in Thailand speak a different language. And they start complaining that people in Thailand don't speak English. Well, it makes sense. It makes sense that I would talk this way because I have my own experiences that you don't have. And it makes sense that you would talk that way because you have those experiences that maybe don't relate to detachment from thinking. Whereas a lot of my experiences relate to mindfulness and detachment, or right view, or seeing from the perspective of no self, seeing from the perspective of emptiness, or seeing from the perspectiveness of how all thoughts are temporary, how thoughts are not reliable, how stories about other people are not other people, how stories about what I see is not what I see, stories about what I hear is not what I hear, stories about what I feel is not what I feel, literally and directly and precisely. Everybody wants to be the one who's figured it out. And you being the person that's figured it out is the most unbearable thing in the world. The most stupid thing in the world. I figured it out. If you figured it out, then just let it go. The puzzles that we solve are the puzzles that we put down. And we get a little bit excited, we get a little bit of out of control, we get a little bit dysregulated, because a lot of us don't really have a network of support. We don't have a network of community infrastructure of people that are like ready to support us if something were to happen. right? To be there for us, to listen to us, to say, hey, do you need food? Do you need shelter? Do you need help to get somewhere else? You know, are you okay? Not explain your ego to me, but what can I do for you? How can I help you, my friend? Period. And so it means that we are very, very easy of being confused by our own thoughts. We have a kind of false confidence that has an underlying fear of being alone, of being isolated, of being unsupported, of not being in community. And that's what we need as human beings. We have to feel that we are in community. We have to feel that there are people out there ready to support us, ready to take care of us, ready to facilitate our care, ready to facilitate our support. Charity without expectations of return. It doesn't mean it's going to work out the way that we want it to, but we know that those people are there for us. And that allows our ego to actually relax and to just kind of live out, you know? We don't have to be angry. Nobody's angry at you here too, Salsia. I want you to be here. I tell a lot of the young boys like you, if you are here, we can go for a walk together in the forest. We can hold hands, we can sing songs, we can make a fire together. You know? The reality of duality is that the good and the bad go together. The hot and the cold go together. The holy and the unholy go together. So this is not about me being holy or me being unholy. This is about me-lessness. This is about you-lessness. This is about the emptiness of grabbing onto and holding onto the thoughts that you have. That's my guy. That's my big guy. So, you know, it's fun. And it's relaxed. And it's gentle and open. And based in freedom. And based in non-judgment. And based in generosity rather than selfishness. Well, helpless in terms of what? What do you want to do? What do you want to get? Do you want to be alive tomorrow? Yeah, you're helpless in that. Do you want to control the world? Yeah, you're helpless in that. Do you want to be in charge of your entire body and mind? Do you want to be in charge of everybody? Yeah, you're helpless in that. And you see a lot of people that come into these live streams, because they don't have experiences like me, which is normal. If I was a trans woman or a trans man and people who weren't trans came in, they would also not have experiences like me. And so when we confront or face something that's outside of our normal way of understanding and what normally appears before us, we have become habitually aggressive. It is what it is. You know? I hope so. I hope there's an unlock. I hope there's a release. I hope there's a relax. But, you know, this is also just very ordinary and normal. And it's the ordinariness that allows us to meditate with everything, with anything. Because we're never going to be able to meditate if we're looking for some kind of 5D super chakra release, you know, some kind of anime experience. But just meditating with what already is, ordinarily, you know, opening to everything, is wonderful. But when we act out aggressively, especially in a context like this, it's showing that there's something inside of ourselves that is vulnerable, that is fearful. Right? Because there's no competition here. There's no competition for ownership. This is my home, where I live alone. So there's no ownership competition here, right? So there's fear. But you don't have to be afraid at all. You don't have to be afraid of me, because I don't want anything from you. And I'm just here to share. I'm not here to compete for the resources or for the women that are near you. Of course it relates to trauma. And a lot of us grow up with a lot of trauma. And the unpacking of that trauma can lead us to blame our parents or to blame our society, but that's really not going to help. And so we're in this position of going through trauma, growing up, and now because our minds were so pliable, our minds were so flexible at that time when we experienced that sustained trauma, that sustained neglect, that sustained emotional dysregulation of the elders that were around us, etc., that this is a lifelong journey of unpacking and healing our trauma. And that trauma means that there's a fear response, or there's like a super duality response to the good. If things feel good, we remember the intensity of the badness. If things feel right, we remember the intensity of the wrongness. And it gets our mind into this kind of very easily confused state. And so mindfulness and detachment is the answer to that. Generosity and being a good person, and holding a standard of kindness that is irrevocable and irreplaceable and indescribable and not about comparing things, is the answer to that. However you feel now, be kind with that. I saw somebody on TikTok or YouTube recently, they went to run for 20 miles or something like that. That's great. But we don't need more people running for 20 miles. We need more people to be kind. We need more people to listen. We need more people to be open. We need more young people to have more access to mentors that aren't trying to get them to buy into some multi-level marketing scheme about them being an influencer, them being a coach, or them being some kind of hyper-masculine, monkey. Because that's what you are deep down, too, Salsia. You're just a monkey. And me too. Just a monkey. And Donnie, I know Donnie's a monkey. Etc. It's only when we start to connect with our enlightenment or our enlightened quality that we go beyond our monkeyness. Because otherwise we're just here to judge and compete and desire and fear, etc. And I love monkeys, but they're a hell of a difficult group of people to make friends with. You'd think they'd be more open and more casual. All right, let's role play it. Everybody ask me who you are. This isn't about our religion, the religions that we follow. It's just about listening, being open, and being curious, and not being aggressive towards other people that we don't know or don't understand. Everybody ask me who you are, or who are you? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excuse me, I have to use the restroom. Well, we can imagine a world where nothing symbolizes anything. We can imagine a world of wakefulness, like a total brightness. Don't worry about anything like that, Aaron. I'm going to take care of that side of things. And thank you to, I think it was Eddie, who make a small donation. Thank you, Eddie. So there's real wisdom in stepping back. Stepping back and being able to not stress. Because we can look at our life, we can look at reality as if it is a puzzle to be solved. Or we can not look at it that way and just step back and relax and release. Because if life is not a puzzle to be solved, we don't need to put forth so much stress and effort to figure it out and to solve it and to manage it. Solving puzzles can be very stressful, especially if this puzzle meant life or death. But if we do see this mind or this reality or this life as a puzzle, then the practice is really being willing to put that down. And if you consider that it is important for yourself to be a puzzle solver, which is good because there are a lot of apparent puzzles. There's a lot of people in suffering. There's a lot of need. There's a lot of suffering in ourselves that maybe we haven't fully addressed or worked with yet. So that is our way of meditation. That is our way of listening to Dharma talks. That is our way of practicing mindfulness and detachment continuously. Even putting forth a great effort, a great heart, a great body, a great mind in walking the path of ending suffering. But this age of social media, it's really the last nail in the coffin of the Dharma age. Because now people are so discombobulated. We get into these parasocial relationships. We get into this sense of having a responsibility or a right to someone else's life or to some topic or some political thing that we're actually not involved with at all. All we've ever done is leave a like. All we've ever done is left a comment. All we've ever done is thought, oh, that's nice. All we've ever done is put a vote in the mailbox. And somehow we have a sense of ownership over this community or this person or this practice or this belief system or this philosophy or this group of people. No ownership, no authority. No, you can't turn back. You can't turn back. It's a shift. So you can go backwards in your relationship with it, with that emptiness or that openness, because sometimes we may take it too far. We go too deeply into the intensity of our mind, our subconscious, etc., and we get ourselves turned around because our virtue, our mind hasn't become stabilized or purified enough to go that deep. So in that sense, we can turn back. But that awareness of notness, that awareness of impermanence, that awareness of selflessness, that awareness of unsatisfactoriness in phenomena, it kind of gets into your bone marrow. It's like a kind of radiation, and you can't remove it. So in this way, there should almost be disclaimers for people who are approaching spirituality and the path to enlightenment, because you can't go back. If you're skillful enough to get the real experience or the real emptying out, the real releasing, you can't put yourself back where there was no self to begin with, that you've seen, that you've experienced, that you've realized. Through being very aware, very devoted, very open, and this quality of generosity, this quality of deep giving. Same with this quality of deep listening or deeply practicing or deeply participating. Like you having an opinion, or you liking something, or you disliking something, or you writing a comment, is that deeply participating? Probably not. Most of the time, no. And so we have a right to what we're involved with, what we're engaged with, what we participate in deeply. So you have a right to talk about Buddhist monasticism. You have a right to talk about meditation. You have a right to talk about meditation masters and teachers and spiritual truth according to how engaged and involved you've actually been in that. And you could be misguidedly engaged or involved. And that also, that can be, so you put in a lot of work, but you haven't gotten anywhere, which is a wisdom in and of itself. I've put in all this work, but I'm still not free from suffering. You might be able to connect with the mind of Siddhartha Gautama in that way. People forget, but Siddhartha Gautama was a bona fide 0.00001% meditation master. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth jhanas, arupa jhanas. Total absorption into meditation, could make his whole body and mind disappear like that, anytime, any moment. Could go into infinite, non-dualistic, unconscious, conscious space with no observer, with no entity, with no identity, with no body, with no mind. And he still was not enlightened. He still wasn't a Buddha. So there is a kind of wisdom, there's a kind of understanding in seeing, I've put forth all this work, and yet I haven't gotten anything. I haven't attained anything. Hatman, you have to really check in with these kinds of things, because there's something about it that doesn't quite make sense in general. So if we have almost no thoughts, and we have pure calmness and nothing more at all, so we're getting into the realm of impossibility and ridiculousness and scope, but that would be the last thing in the world that couldn't be handled. How couldn't we handle, how would we be unable to handle just being at peace all the time? So what I can say is that likely is a kind of contracted or conflicted emotion, maybe a state of desire or a state of hope or a state of seeking or a state of trying to figure out, that has conglomerated itself into an emotion with a sense of self. And so because of that, how tangled up that is, you're not aware of the thoughts that are actually happening. You're not aware of what's actually going on, because it just doesn't make sense at all. If you were in a state of pure calmness, nothing more at all, what could be more easy than to handle that? Yeah, the solving, the figuring out. And also to say that just because we have big screen TVs and smartphones doesn't mean that modern society and modern culture is somehow inherently right and skillful and effective and beneficial. So if you take yourself to a place that is unusual, that is beyond the scope of the culture that you live in, you may need to take refuge in a culture other than that which you're used to. And what that really means is knowing how to go home within ourselves, to the true culture of no culture. Because when we are constantly making a lot of decisions about ourselves and our lives and the future and our job and our relationship and all these illusory contracts that we're signing and putting our name on, putting our signature on, it can actually create a whole lot of suffering. So this is to stop your business, to stop your busy list, your busyness. This is to stop the struggle and the striving for your retirement plan and your success in the future. Peace is something that is very not dependent on past or future. Peace doesn't depend on the past or the future. And to take a piece of peace, to have a piece of peace, is to be free from the past and the future. Deeply, deeply free, deeply present. Just because someone looks a certain way, it doesn't mean that they are the way that you think the looking of that way means. We have to learn to look within ourselves. And when we start to look within ourselves, we know how to look within others. If you're just looking at the body, or you're just looking at the outward appearance, you're looking at blood and bone and guts and mucus and flesh and pus, etc. So we have to begin to look deeply. I would say yes, Willow Love. I think it can be very beneficial. But the interesting thing about all this is that this is not what people want to connect with. This is not what people want to tune into. What I'm really talking to, what I'm really pointing out. Very, very few people that actually are interested and open in mindfulness and detachment. Because this is to dissolve our own ego. And usually it is traumatized or suffering people that want to dissolve their own ego or to get out of suffering. Usually people that are, doing well enough for themselves don't have the good conditions to come and listen to the Dhamma in the West, for Western people. So for mentally ill people, this is a great place for you to be. For physically disabled people, this is a great place for you to be. People with disabilities, terminally ill. But it just depends on their connection with that. No psychedelics. We're not doing any psychedelics here. Life is psychedelic enough as it is. This isn't about taking psychedelics. Taking psychedelics doesn't get you anywhere. Really, ultimately. It doesn't help. It doesn't help for spiritual development. It might help you be a little bit more colorful. It might help you be a little bit more crazy. It can be used in a medical setting, a medical sense, but that's not what most people are talking about when they say, do you do psychedelics? Most of those people are talking about, how can I justify getting high or getting twisted up or getting unstable and having special experiences with a spiritual path? And it's 100% spiritual materialism. The real spiritual teachings and practice is much better than spiritual materialism or getting high or having special meditation experiences, etc. It's just nothing. And some people, they want the best of the best, and some people will just take whatever makes them feel good. So for me, I want the best of the best. And meditation alone can be very psychedelic. But that's actually not, that's more like a side effect of going along in the path. The psychedelic aspects or the special experiences that we get in meditation are not the point in meditation in terms of becoming enlightened. In terms of developing the vipassana wisdom, the wisdom of mindfulness with detachment, the wisdom of right view, the wisdom of not clinging, not holding on, the wisdom of breaking up these boundaries of thinking that keep us from a deeper experience of life with life as it is right now, which is actually where the freedom of suffering can be felt and experienced. You can only become enlightened now. You can't become enlightened in the future. You can't become enlightened in the past. There's not even such a thing as now, so when are you going to become enlightened? In timelessness. In being free from the notions of the importance that you give to yourself about what you think about things. simply. That's why I don't get many donations, or don't have many followers, or don't, I'm not in a position to start up a class, like a meditation class or a coaching thing, because this is just a simple. There's no fanfare here. The fanfare is just, you can see right through it very, very easily. The presentation, just completely nonsense. And so when you get to the core of it, this is it. This is your life, and this is not a story. And becoming enlightened to the storylessness of your life as it already is, that is your own independence to do with what you please. It's got nothing to do with me or Buddhism or the short attention span that people have. And sometimes it takes us a little bit of time to calm down and tune in. So you don't have to be in so much of a rush. No, my teaching, you'd have to ask somebody better than me. You'd have to ask somebody higher than me. And they probably wouldn't tell you. There's not much of a inspiration to go around and talking about the teachings of other people for someone who's actively on the path of teaching. Sometimes you do that teaching methodology, especially when you're working with the people in this general bubble of Buddhism and Buddhist teachers. And I've told that to people for a long time. If you have the blessing to have a connection with someone who is higher than me in terms of being a meditation master or being experienced with wisdom and Buddhism and enlightenment and all that, go and talk with that, and you trust that person, go and talk with that person and say, hey, can you take a look at this? Who is this guy? Is this teaching like real or not real, or what is it? And then you can just see what they say. Instead of making up our own personal interpretations and judgments about what we experience, if we want an interpretation, if we want a judgment, let's ask our well-known advisor. And this is just something that as Westerners we don't have any cultural contact with. In many ways, I don't really want to be a teacher or a guru or some kind of spiritual leader or like spiritual symbol. Sometimes it's practical so people can kind of know what I'm into and remind people about Buddha and that kind of thing in Asia. But I just want to be, and that's enough for me now. See what happens. Moment by moment, seeing what happens, looking closely, looking deeply. It's not our fault that advertising in America has spiraled into, TikTok and YouTube Shorts and just this constant oversaturation of content, and everyone wanting to be a content creator and everyone wanting to get likes and everyone wanting to get attention, etc. There's nothing wrong with everybody wanting that. The wrongness or the problem is thinking that everybody is the same. That everything is the same in terms of value or in terms of skillfulness or in terms of relationship with true sameness. And that both is and isn't the case. But for most people, that isn't the case. Not everybody is on the same wavelength of spiritual development and practice and investment, etc. And that's what we have to go with. We can't just go with our opinion or other random anonymous people's opinion about what we're seeing or experiencing or listening to. We don't know those people. We don't know their experiences. We don't know who they are. So we have to learn and kind of take back the right to use our own eyes, to use our own ears, to use our own hearts, to use our own gut. It's like saying, what does it matter what kind of plumber does your plumbing, or what kind of carpenter does it matter that does your carpentry? It's just how stupid you are is to ask a question like that. You know, that's the example. You are the living example of that. There is a skill and there is unskill. Peter, just give me a call on WhatsApp and we'll talk about that sometime soon. And it's not just you, American systems. There are thousands, tens of thousands of schizophrenic, conspiracy theory, spiritualist people that think that they're enlightened, that think that they've awoken from the matrix, and they're constantly going around trying to talk with other people about their Reiki, spiritual healing skills, and their understanding of the angel Dionysus and the demon Marcius and all these kinds of things. So it's not just you alone. We have to remember that it's, you aren't nobody. You're American systems. You're identified with your view and your understanding. And you have to take responsibility for that. It's this spiritual materialism where we listen to some talks from Alan Watts, or we, God forbid, attend a meditation retreat, or just join some random Discord server and someone is talking about enlightenment, and then we think, we're enlightened. It's just nonsense. You are what you invest in. You get back what you give, period. You haven't invested, you've just thought about things. And your thoughts aren't worth much. So, our capacity to think about things is endless. It doesn't matter what you like. It's not important what you like. It doesn't matter what you dislike. Well, too bad, too sad. See you on the other side. And what we find is that a lot of people who have this schizophrenic spirituality that's not based in experience and doesn't have a relationship with real teachers and real experience, these people, they just want to share their parasites and their nonsense and their wrong thinking anywhere and everywhere that they can. That is their love and their desire, right? There's a parasite within them, the parasite of self-view, the parasite of separation. It's okay if we feel a little bit of energy. It's okay if we feel, you can call it a white people complex. It can be a big part of that. A colonizing mindset. But it's okay to feel that intensity and that intimacy. It's okay to feel that anxiety. It's okay to feel the bubblings of fear. We don't have to be afraid of feeling that. It's our fear about feeling that allows that to spiral and allows us to go into all these different directions that are not beneficial and not meaningful for us. So we come back to center and we're willing to feel what's there. It's not just white people, but that's the culture that I'm speaking from. Well, Indians have their own problems. I'm not ready to tackle the Indian situation right now. I'm here in Vietnam. So Indians got some big problems over there, I'll tell you what. But are they bigger than America's problems? I don't know. We couldn't say, right? In some sense, it's like America and India are competing for who can have the biggest problems. This is my Plum Village bag. This is my Deer Park Monastery, California bag. And I'm very grateful for Deer Park Monastery in California and for Lang Mai in general. There was a lot of opening, a lot of heart that I got to um, develop and to grow into from my time that I spent there. I don't listen so much to Bhante Sujato, but I have listened to him before. I'm more of an Ajahn Sumedho um, kind of guy. And recently, Master Yonghua. I've been enjoying Master Yonghua recently as well. He's a good teacher. He knows a lot. Very powerful. No, warrior within. You will not. You will not. So this isn't about being a fighter or this isn't about giving a chance for you to share your opinion or to share your understanding. This is more like the chance to be a listener. This is more like the space to give the inspiration to be open to receiving everything as it is. Without labeling anything, without understanding anything. So that the process of natural meditation can unfold. There's not one singular teaching that's being given here. There's a lot of different elements that are being addressed, that are being pointed out, that are being greased up so they can flow out and finish and be resolved. So just that openness, that wholeness of listening. Never isolate yourself to one particular teacher. It's different if you're staying with that teacher, you're in communication with that teacher. That teacher is literally teaching you. That's one thing. But if you are emphasizing or pinholing yourself to the importance of one specific teacher, it means that your ego is comfortable with that teacher. And unless that ego is able to bounce back and forth between you and that teacher, it means that you're just going to be indulging yourself. So you want to listen to the other masters and the other teachers that are outside of your wheelhouse, but are recommended by a good known or a well-known advisor. Master Yonghua, Ajahn Sumedho, Thich Nhat Hanh, Ajahn Brahm, Pomniam Sunim. Pomniam Sunim, very, very powerful. Pomniam Sunim, very powerful Dhamma teacher. And anyways, you can try. You try and see what works for you. If we are stuck in this particular mentality of just eating the food that we're used to, we're going to miss out on how ridiculous it is to not try and to not eat food that we're not used to. And then we just take a look at a food and we say, no, I don't like that. You don't know if you like that or not because you haven't tried it. You haven't experimented. You haven't experienced that. So you literally, you're saying that you like it or you don't like it, but you have no idea if you like it or not. So this is the power of ignorance and attachment. We can say that we don't like something even as we know that we don't know if we like it or don't like it because we haven't tried it. And the teachings or the teachers, the practices are the same. You've got to put your foot on the pedal at the very minimum, at the very least. It's not enough to just have your foot off the pedal and think you're going to get anywhere. And it's up to you how much you push on that, right? How much speed, how much energy, how much intensity you bring to that path making, that path going. But at the bare minimum, you have to put your foot on the pedal and press so that you can see for yourself if this works or it doesn't. With that, I pay homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We're too easy to make judgments about other people. We're too easy to make judgments about situations. We're too easy to complain. We're too easy to speak up and say this is wrong or this is right. Are we really engaging? Are we really getting involved in any meaningful way if all we're doing is saying that we like this or we don't like this? Just be open. Open-hearted, open-minded, and hold a standard of kindness, a standard of protection, a standard of caring, a standard of cooperation, a standard of communication. That's not about your easiliness to react negatively or your easiness to just do what you're used to. Go outside the box of doing what you're used to. Just because you're used to it doesn't mean that it's good, doesn't mean that it's bad, it doesn't mean anything. It's just something that you're used to. So go beyond what you're used to so you can look back and see how it is right now. With all that life has to offer, with all that life already is, to actually see it. Buddha just means enlightenment. Buddha just means completely free awareness. Buddha just means no more suffering. Very difficult to understand Buddha. So we don't pray to Buddha, we remember, we invoke, we have reverence for Buddha. We have reverence for enlightenment. See you all again soon. Don't get into trouble. Get into anti-trouble. Go out there and do some good deeds. Clean your room. Clean your parents' toilet. Go for a walk. Take a deep breath. Relax. See you soon.